I've had some really good times in the business and I've had some rough times in the business. But what I didn't have in me was quit. I maybe had to change, but I didn't have quit. My oldest daughter is a professional ballet dancer. She's 34 years old and still making a living as a professional ballet dancer. And people tell her like, "Oh my gosh, Emily, your no give up factor is just in crazy high. It's just insane how high it is." And she says, "You ought to beat my dad."
Hello, it's Aaron here from Disruptors at speed. You flew all the way in for Fort Worth, Texas, where I found out a little bit about it. So you've been in the business for 43 years, which, like I said, is ridiculous to me. You've been in the business so long. What's the biggest changes you've seen? Like, I mean, I feel like now it's a lot more digital, and I don't know if it's got younger. Like, seems like a lot of people are really in this. How do you see the difference or since you came in?
Well, I think certainly, technology has been the single biggest change in the business. Communication, information, for sure, that's totally different than it was, back then. Most things back then, quite honestly, were probably an island of information, and so that's changed.
What do you love about Texas?
Well, I am heart and soul, I'm a cowboy. So obviously I like that. But Texas people have a spirit. You hear that a lot, but it's a truth. And I was not raised in Texas. The joke is I wasn't raised in Texas. I just got there as quick as I could. And but I really do love Texas from that perspective. And it definitely has an independent spirit, and it kind of suits me.
What's your worst crash you've had on a horse?
I broke my back.
You broke your back?
Yeah. This was not a good horse. This was a horse that was acting crazy, and it just kind of reared up, and I tried to step away from it, and it just kind of followed me and knocked me into a fence. Anyway, not a good day there.
Only thing I've ever done, I rode an elephant in Thailand. I've never done a horse. But like a horse is like, they're just, I don't know, that they scare me.
Yeah, no, they can be dangerous, but it was a big part of I've spent a lot of my younger life on the back of a horse.
That's interesting.
I think that, creative financing is one of those things where people learn a little bit. Creative financing is a wide range of different things that you can do. I've been doing it for 40 something years. So there's not a one thing that you do that makes you successful. Just like pretty much everything in life, there's a sequence of things that you do that make you successful. I have done several note acquisitions that were between 800 and 1,000 deals. So there's not a lot of people that have ever bought 1,000 seller finance notes. I'd say I'm about a short list of maybe one. But then I got a reputation to do it. So when people had that big of a deal, they would call me. So yeah, that's probably the biggest single closing that I could relate to.
All right. So from horse to creative financing, 43 years into this business, to me, it seems like you almost lived a complete life. I will say you're probably one of the most seasoned people I've talked to in a while. And with people that are getting into real estate, what do you like? If I wanted to start today, how could I get to a spot where I'm going 40 years into it? Like, what's been your number one secret?
Passion. And I love it. Mm-hmm. And I may not be the smartest guy in the world, but I'm very tenacious.
Okay.
And I've not had a lot of give up in me. In fact, I've had almost to a fault. And so those are traits, as you look back in your life and you think these are things that God gave me. We all got something different. Right?
Yeah.
I've argued with God. I told him he should just made me brilliant. This tenacity thing shouldn't have been the thing. Right. I had a guy tell me a long time ago, he said, being an entrepreneur is not knowledge. It's not even vision. It's being able to deal with the problems.
All right. My last thing is 50% of the people who watch these are not subscribed, and would you tell someone why they have to subscribe to this and what they need to tune into to watch your podcast?
Well, I can tell you that this is a first-class operation. I've been in the space a long time. I've dealt with lots of real estate investors. Steve and his team are very professional. Steve is well thought out. Steve and I have known each other for many years. We've been in masterminds together. I've seen him do countless presentations that were so articulate, so well thought through. And I just know every time he does this show, it's prepared. It's like the preparation that I've done even before I got here, and so that you are trying to bring the best of what I can help bring to the show to this. And so I would say if you're going to subscribe to a show that's well thought out, that's structured, that has meaningful content, it's got to be this. It's got to be this one.
Well, Eddie Speed gave it a stamp of approval. Make sure you subscribe and tune to the podcast. So I was talking earlier. First of all, you've been in the business for 43 years, which absolutely blows my mind. And you're talking about kind of your drive to stay in it. This is more than usual.